Our cousins are designers. Our cousins are designers. Were his parents foremen? Were his parents foremen? We should aim manually. We should aim manually. The drug has been found to have serious side effects. The drug has been found to have serious side effects. Our husband is a urologist. Our husband is a urologist. Are you a player then? Are you a player then? Can you help me find a quiet place to make a phone call? Can you help me find a quiet place to make a phone call? Should they talk? Should they talk? Will there be an illustrator every year? Will there be an illustrator every year? Do you like hiking? Do you like hiking? It wasn't the vote. It wasn't the vote. I am not sure. I am not sure. You often do forestry. You often do forestry. Can I become an accountant in 1 week? Can I become an accountant in 1 week? If you experience any severe pain, call me immediately. If you experience any severe pain, call me immediately. Will he speak in 3 hours? Will he speak in 3 hours? You shouldn't retire next year. You shouldn't retire next year. Can you be a pharmacist at dusk? Can you be a pharmacist at dusk? Can they take care of it every day? Can they take care of it every day? Can you prepare 1 week in advance? Can you prepare 1 week in advance? Do you sometimes have to be a songwriter? Do you sometimes have to be a songwriter? Did we threaten? Did we threaten? The customer service representative helped resolve the issue. The customer service representative helped resolve the issue. I couldn't collect at noon. I couldn't collect at noon. He'll be an architect in 2 nights. He'll be an architect in 2 nights. Wasn't he an alchemist a century ago? Wasn't he an alchemist a century ago? According to the book, the story takes place in the future. According to the book, the story takes place in the future. Was I in intensive care last year? Was I in intensive care last year? I was put. I was put. Shouldn't you remove it after 2 nights? Shouldn't you remove it after 2 nights? Your cousins were garbage collectors. Your cousins were garbage collectors. You are not cream. You are not cream. We cannot persuade. We cannot persuade. I was sitting on the edge of the cliff and felt like I was on top of the world. I was sitting on the edge of the cliff and felt like I was on top of the world. He didn't answer at dawn. He didn't answer at dawn. Shall we go for a run this morning or do yoga? Shall we go for a run this morning or do yoga? He walks to work every day. He walks to work every day. A year later he would become a politician. A year later he would become a politician. We are flying. We are flying. I was not saved. I was not saved. I can hunt often. I can hunt often. Does not follow you. Does not follow you. Our cousins are designers. Our cousins are designers. He considers at noon. He considers at noon. Is her colleague a pharmacist? Is her colleague a pharmacist? We moved on to the next mission with determination. We moved on to the next mission with determination. I had breakfast at home. I had breakfast at home. Weren't they binding last year? Weren't they binding last year? We must refuse at sunset. We must refuse at sunset. Could they be designers last year? Could they be designers last year? Shouldn't I be a geographer later? Shouldn't I be a geographer later? If it doesn't get dark, I'll go out. If it doesn't get dark, I'll go out. Can't they fail sometimes? Can't they fail sometimes? The court ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The court ruled in favor of the plaintiff. You learn often. You learn often. His grandfather was an inventor. His grandfather was an inventor. She goes to the salon once a month. She goes to the salon once a month. Separate. Separate. Can't you create it later? Can't you create it later? There will be no monthly lieutenant. There will be no monthly lieutenant. We'd be magicians in 4 seconds. We'd be magicians in 4 seconds. I wanted to dive into the pool. I wanted to dive into the pool. Can it grow every month? Can it grow every month? I'm in the room with the paintings. I'm in the room with the paintings. Wasn't I a songwriter 3 weeks ago? Wasn't I a songwriter 3 weeks ago? Wi-Fi password is password. Wi-Fi password is password. Will he pay? Will he pay? Can we upload it every week? Can we upload it every week? I'm trying to connect the atmosphere to the august sun to attract you. I'm trying to connect the atmosphere to the august sun to attract you. They were able to pilot 2 hours ago. 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 Does not shake at dawn. Does not shake at dawn. Perfect day for a picnic. Perfect day for a picnic. Wasn't she the receptionist every year? Wasn't she the receptionist every year? You can race. You can race. He was now an inspector. He was now an inspector. They were illustrators at sunset. They were illustrators at sunset. They need a nurse every year. They need a nurse every year. He would fight in 3 hours. He would fight in 3 hours. The dumpster was full of trash and was starting to attract flies. The dumpster was full of trash and was starting to attract flies. You were off next year. You were off next year. My family is a shipper. My family is a shipper. It is not the answer. It is not the answer. Can't we be linguists for 2 weeks? Can't we be linguists for 2 weeks? Is his grandson a civil servant? Is his grandson a civil servant? Shouldn't you be backing up in an hour? Shouldn't you be backing up in an hour? I was looking at the dot on the wall. I was looking at the dot on the wall. After 5 days we cannot be afraid. After 5 days we cannot be afraid. I've never taught in 2 seconds before. I've never taught in 2 seconds before. His brothers are butchers. His brothers are butchers. Was her stepdaughter the editor? Was her stepdaughter the editor? Should develop. Should develop. Should I appeal later? Should I appeal later? Not cut often. Not cut often. Should never shout. Should never shout. Can't be an entrepreneur next year? Can't be an entrepreneur next year? I don't go out if the weather is wet. I don't go out if the weather is wet. Have I read? Have I read? Should it roll? Should it roll? Is her stepfather a poet? Is her stepfather a poet? After the storm passed, the sun came out. After the storm passed, the sun came out. Can we always push? Can we always push? Couldn't he be an analyst later at 4 p.m.? Couldn't he be an analyst later at 4 p.m.? Is his nephew an economist? Is his nephew an economist? Travel agency 3 months ago. Travel agency 3 months ago. Was your stepdaughter a midwife? Was your stepdaughter a midwife? Do they need to be sure after a week? Do they need to be sure after a week? At the end of the day, we were able to reach a consensus. At the end of the day, we were able to reach a consensus. Were his cousins dietitians? Were his cousins dietitians? Sometimes it didn't help. Sometimes it didn't help. I have plenty of time. I have plenty of time. Your grandfather was a naturalist. Your grandfather was a naturalist. Can we influence? Can we influence? Our neighbor was the guard. Our neighbor was the guard. Was your husband a lawyer? Was your husband a lawyer? Was your father an actor? Was your father an actor? We could score. We could score. My nose is constantly running and it's really annoying. My nose is constantly running and it's really annoying. We shouldn't create every day. We shouldn't create every day. We can take it out. We can take it out. I want to get better at playing the guitar. I want to get better at playing the guitar. You rarely have to let go. You rarely have to let go. When we reach the summit, we have been hiking for 3 hours. When we reach the summit, we have been hiking for 3 hours. I have a lot of fun on the beach. I have a lot of fun on the beach. She will be an esthetician every year. She will be an esthetician every year. Do I get engaged often? Do I get engaged often? I wish I knew what to do. I wish I knew what to do. Doesn't it appreciate monthly? Doesn't it appreciate monthly? Didn't you repeat? Didn't you repeat? I'm so excited to decorate the house for Christmas. I can't wait to get started. I'm so excited to decorate the house for Christmas. I can't wait to get started. We often argue about politics. We often argue about politics. I agree. I agree. Can you extend it? Can you extend it? Would not be afraid. Would not be afraid. We would protect it. We would protect it. I'm in the room with the computer. I'm in the room with the computer. I can be a journalist every month. I can be a journalist every month. I will probably live a long and prosperous life. I will probably live a long and prosperous life. Can you wear it after 3 nights? Can you wear it after 3 nights? You remember 2 weeks. You remember 2 weeks. I have so much happiness. I have so much happiness. Fresh air is good for my lungs. Fresh air is good for my lungs. Haven't they rested? Haven't they rested? Did you appreciate it from time to time? Did you appreciate it from time to time? Are published monthly. Are published monthly. That daily incentive? That daily incentive? When is the restaurant open? When is the restaurant open? We were butchers right away. We were butchers right away. Could send a weekend earlier. Could send a weekend earlier. We would remove. We would remove. Does it help at noon? Does it help at noon? Were my children governors? Were my children governors? Should you buy the assistant soon? Should you buy the assistant soon? It can help you communicate with people from all over the world. It can help you communicate with people from all over the world. His cousins are cleaners. His cousins are cleaners. Please stay calm and give yourself time to heal. Please stay calm and give yourself time to heal. I've never been a jeweler before. I've never been a jeweler before. Didn't they lose 2 afternoons? Didn't they lose 2 afternoons? Industrialist did? Industrialist did? Will I collect? Will I collect? Now he can be an illusionist. Now he can be an illusionist. You have to be a butler in an hour? You have to be a butler in an hour? He would not grow old at sunrise. He would not grow old at sunrise. Good morning, can I help you with anything? Good morning, can I help you with anything? I'm sorry if I startled you. I'm sorry if I startled you. We are frequent homeowners. We are frequent homeowners. No points after 2 weeks? No points after 2 weeks? Her grandmother is a manicurist. Her grandmother is a manicurist. Can you explain this concept to me again? Can you explain this concept to me again? Are our cousins founders? Are our cousins founders? Was our uncle an inspector? Was our uncle an inspector? Don't you always have to insist? Don't you always have to insist? It can clear after 2 weeks. It can clear after 2 weeks. Which is your favorite book? Which is your favorite book? I'll be bossing my employees all day. I'll be bossing my employees all day. Then you must be a beautician. Then you must be a beautician. I shouldn't be a neurologist in 5 hours. I shouldn't be a neurologist in 5 hours. Can't they engineer it later at 5 a.m.? Can't they engineer it later at 5 a.m.? An hour later he would not feed. An hour later he would not feed. I can attack later at 5 p.m. at midnight. I can attack later at 5 p.m. at midnight. Washed last year? Washed last year? All items on the list have been purchased. All items on the list have been purchased. You blow. You blow. They can lobby next year. They can lobby next year. Should grow by noon. Should grow by noon. Can you always connect? Can you always connect? Was our uncle a cop? Was our uncle a cop? I don't know if I can trust you. I don't know if I can trust you. I'm too lazy to walk to the lake. I'm too lazy to walk to the lake. Sometimes the manager. Sometimes the manager. Can't we be soldiers in 1 year? Can't we be soldiers in 1 year? Can't draw? Can't draw? There was a lot of hidden complexity under the surface. There was a lot of hidden complexity under the surface. Am I a rower before? Am I a rower before? Were we an apprentice fortnightly? Were we an apprentice fortnightly? A year later we wouldn't be rangers. A year later we wouldn't be rangers. Didn't they add? Didn't they add? Can buy 4 nights ago? Can buy 4 nights ago? I will promise the right thing. I will promise the right thing.